something a little different today. Hello, rock and roll. Welcome back to Jay's Rock and Roll Stories. I am your host, Jay. I told you before that I was going to get off Santana for a little bit, but I think what I want to do is because, there's so much to go for. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you this last one, and then we're going to take a break and do something else, and then we're going to come back because, listen, tell you the truth, my wife and I, we're going together. Carlos Santana is coming to concert here in San Diego in August. I'm freaking stoked. So, we're going to do this episode about Santana, take a break, and then later, after August, I'm going to do a little, how was my concert episode? That kind of thing, man. Hell yeah, right? Why not? All right, so let's just go back, right? So, we're talking about how Santana played at Woodstock. That was the top of the mountain. You can't get higher than that, right? Coming from such humble beginnings, he's there. He's playing at fucking Woodstock. So after Woodstock, he talks about Altamont. We did that episode before. And Altamont, he agrees it was just a complete shit show. So dark, so scary, so awful. Nothing but Hell's Angels and violence. Really, he doesn't go into it in the book. But I think that's the type of guy. And he talks about in this book how when he meets other musicians, maybe he doesn't get along with them, or he had a run-in with something. He doesn't remember those things. He only remembers the good times. So he really doesn't talk about negative shit. For the most part, really. So, 1969, everything is happening incredibly fast. According to Carlos, everything's just happening. And that's what Bill Graham told him. He's like, you guys are going to become famous, and you're not even going to realize what the fuck's happening here. So this is 1969. After Woodstock, they go back to the Fillmore East in New York. And guess what? They're the main attraction. The Paul Butterfield Blues Band and Humble Pie are opening for Santana. Holy shit, right? In December of 1969, Evil Ways, that's the Willy Bobo cover, is released. And it is a top 10 radio hit. Evil Ways. So that gets them their first kind of royalty checks. They're making some money. Everyone, buys a car or something, they get to splurge a little bit. Carlos buys a red Excalibur Phaeton. Google image this. Red Excalibur Phaeton. Phaeton. There's a funny story. Doesn't really know how to drive. So he gets in the thing, he quote-unquote drives away, he's going 20 miles per hour on the Highway 101, and he gets pulled over. But the cops are like, holy shit, you're Santana. He's already known. Think about it. If you're opening for Humble Pie, you have a little bit of fame. So the cops are just like, holy shit, man, what's up, man? So instead of giving him a ticket, they give him a ride home, and they promise to give him driving lessons. They're like, fuck, you don't know how to drive, do you? So they give him driving lessons over the weekend. He finally learns how to drive. The cops helping him out. He doesn't really like the sound of their first album in 1969, but he does love the sound of their second album, Abraxas, 1970. And he talks about the tone. And there's a question he formed. He's really... Give me a second. I have this music on in the background. It's Santana. I'm going to turn it off. There, now you can't take my episode off because the royalties, right? Anyway, so he's talking about sound. This guy is... This is a player. He's not just going to plug in and play. He's an artist, right? He talks about the sound that he wants to capture. He's saying, What's the sound of a soul praying? Or what's the sound of a ghost crying? Like, Jesus Christ, that's Van Gogh right there. He talks about the album Abraxas, that it was also a good album for other people making royalties. Like, okay, on that album is their hit that got radio play, Black Magic Woman. But that's not... Carlos Santana didn't write that song. That's written by Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac. So Peter Green got a little check. And that other hit that you know on the radio, Oye Como Va, that's not written by Carlos Santana. That was written by Tito Puente. So Tito Puente got a little check in the mail too. Everybody wins. So there is a song that I like that he recorded around this time. It's called Samba Pa Ti. 3 words. Samba Pa Ti. P-A-T-I. He tells a story about this song where he says that he was jet-lagged in New York, and he can't sleep. He's like just walking around the room in the hotel, and he hears a bunch of noise out the window. What the hell is happening? Bottles rolling, a horn, like some sort of horn sounding. He looks out the window, and there's a drunken man trying to play the saxophone, like for change, for passersby, for change, and trying to drink a bottle at the same time, like a drunken guy with bottle of wine and saxophone in one hand and the other, going for it. And his mind, and his brain says to him, he says that you could be lost just like that. So he wanted to create a song that is just complete vulnerability, like where something is like almost like undressing you, you know? When the reason why I'm repeating these words is like that, Jesus Christ, that sounds like this song. Listen to the song. Carlos just put Santana, Samba Pa Ti. It's amazing. He really did it. Like what he just said, he made that into a form of music. At this point, the drummer Michael Sheave, he gets Carlos like really into jazz. He really gets him into Miles Davis and John Coltrane. Also, 1970 is Santana is doing a lot of tours through Europe. They're top, man. So he talks a lot about Miles Davis. He talks a lot about the relationship between he and Miles Davis and he and Bill Graham and Miles Davis and Bill Graham. And Miles Davis is kind of like a jokester, like he'll just show up and like chat with him and stuff, and really into cocaine. Like Miles Davis, that's his thing, man. He likes coke. And Bill Graham loves Miles. And he has a lot of respect for Miles Davis and Bill Graham, and it's nice because Miles Davis at that point was already going through a period of transition from complete bebop jazz to when he made the album Bitches Brew, which is like jazz fusion. I mean, that's what critics call it, right? It's like electric guitar with jazz, right? That Miles Davis is experimenting with sound, and it's fascinating because he talks about how Miles Davis would just kind of seek Carlos out, you know, go to his shows, just chat with him, and Carlos has a very high regard for him. Like, hey, Miles, what's up, man? I'm just doing my thing. And at the end of this episode, Carlos has the same thing. He has a period of transition. And I think there's a point where Miles Davis maybe saw that. Maybe saw this guy is not just, you know, pigeonholed as the rock guitar guy. You know, it's just like, what is he going to do? Because when you hear Carlos Santana's guitar solos, it doesn't sound like rock and roll sometimes. It doesn't. Like, you wouldn't put that record in, like, if you go to a record shop, you have the rock area. Where does it go? Does it go in jazz? Where the fuck do I put this thing? Anyway, so yeah, Miles Davis is involved with Carlos Santana. They're friends, and kind of like a mentor, because Miles Davis is he is an anomaly. I would have to do an episode on that guy. Let's just move on here. Bill Graham is still in the picture. All right, Carlos gives heroin a try. Yes, and in the book, he talks about how it felt great. He talks about how the first couple of times, holy shit, I can play like no, I could play I feel so good. I can play so good. Yeah, like it's interesting because he says he only did it a few times and it felt great. He could play, and he said this one time. This is what I really admire about Carlos Santana, because he has such control about just being. He has control on it. So this is the story. He's in a bathroom. He has a buddy with him, tying him off, about to shoot him up. And the medicine cabinet mirror just opens up out of nowhere. It opens and swings right into his face. And the mirror is right on his face. And he's looking into the mirror and he can see himself. And he's like, Jesus Christ. Looks like a fucking like wolf man. And he tells the guy, stop. And the guy's like, what? Stop. I said, stop. Pull it off. Takes the rubber band off. I'm done. Like, that made him stop. Like, this is what I am? No, I'm done. And, yeah, he gave it up just because, like, he had that, step out of the box experience for a second to see what the fuck's going on. At this point in the band, everyone's kind of dabbling with heroin. Everyone's kind of fucking around. And he confronts Michael Carbello, and he says, like, listen, if we don't clean this shit up, I'm done. Like, I'm telling you, because you're one of the original guys with me, if we don't wrap this up, and I'm stepping out. So Carbello says, yeah, you're right. 1971 is an interesting year. There's a big tour that goes to Ghana, Africa. It's Santana, it's Ike and Tina Turner, it's Wilson Pickett, it's Willie Bobo, it's the Staple Singers, it's Roberta Flack. There's also some other musicians. And I think there's a movie about this. I haven't seen it. I have to see it. It's called Soul to Soul. 1971, Africa. All right, so they're also doing a bunch of concerts in Europe. Carlos is very unsatisfied with this sort of like rock star lifestyle. He doesn't like it, he's not digging it. It's the drugs, it's the egos, and he's turning to some sort of like a spiritual cleansing. That's what he's looking for, So he finds that in the album A Love Supreme by John Coltrane and another band called the Mahavishnu Orchestra, and that's the guitarist John McLaughlin. That was his given name by like a yogi, Mahavishnu. So he's drifting sideways from the whole rock style. Like, you saw Woodstock, you saw Altamont. I'm gonna take this bridge. And it's kind of funny. He jokes about how, because if you're a rock star, you're gonna have parties, lots of parties all the time, And once when he gets sick of these stupid parties, he would put the record on, A Love Supreme by John Coltrane, and surely it would clear the whole room out. Put that on. There's a homework. Put that on. A Love Supreme by John Coltrane. He said it worked every time. He was like, I'm sick of these people in my house. All right, here we go. Put the needle on. All right, A Love Supreme, John Coltrane. Okay, 1971. Jimi Hendrix dies. Then Jim Morrison dies. Then Janis Joplin dies. Janis Joplin dies. And it's like, it's kind of a scary thing because everyone's kind of freaked out. Like, what the fuck just happened? That's the triad. That's the Trinity. Where do they go? It freaks Carlos out, and he tells, like, he's done. He's like, I'm done with cocaine. I'm done with heroin, and I'm trying to get that shit out of the band. He fires David Brown, the bass player. David was really getting into heroin and just kind of nodding off during like concerts and stuff, so he's out. It turns out that David Brown cleaned himself up and he would actually come back into the band, so nice. Carlos also meets and becomes friends with Gabor Szabo, as we talked about before in the Chico Hamilton band. And they get together and make music together, and they hang out. And he's kind of disappointed because he says that he never got to hear Gabor ever talk about his time with Chico Hamilton and the music that he made. And I'm disappointed too, because I love that shit. I love Gabor Szabo, and I love hearing him, the Chico Hamilton band. I'm like, fuck, I wanted to know more about that. But I think he says how Gabor Szabo was wanting a different sound. That's not what he wanted. Which is interesting because the Gabor Szabo albums are basically he covering like Beatles songs and Mamas and Papas songs, like doing it in a jazz style. It's very strange. Like, that's what you wanted to do? All right, it's cool and everything, but I mean, the Chico Hamilton, I think it's way fucking cooler. But I dig both. All right. Anyway, so music itself is very, very serious to Carlos. He does not fuck around, and he's really becoming a sort of like a band leader. He writes how one time on a tour on a bus, there was a member that kind of like just kind of declared like out loud to him in front of everybody. He says, we really don't like it when you like tell us what to do and what not to do. Like, stop bossing us around. He responded. He was like, okay, then surprise me. Don't bring me that same old shit that you learned. Don't bring me something that you learned. Like, do something else. So he explains that. I don't know. He's serious, man. It's his music. He explains that it's his job to say if someone is just passing the buck and going through the motions, but he will also say, that was some fucking good shit that you did last night, bro. Oh, man, you were on. Thank you. So, let's see here. And I think that comes back to the universal tone, that idea of like just don't go through the motions, don't go, like, bring it out. And I think that goes back to the universal tone, because it's just like feel it, do it. Don't hold on to the reins and do what you're supposed to do. Feel it out, And I think that's something that you maybe you can't be taught. And maybe you can't even learn it. Maybe it's just something that you feel or you don't feel. So I think it's kind of like a win some, lose some thing. You might have a guy in the band that there's no way he can do that. Well, can't win them all. Santana, 1972, releases the album Caravanserai. I have this album. It's really good. Another homework assignment. YouTube, full album, Santana, Caravanserai. It's interesting because it's like, it's almost like one track that just keeps going through. It just meanders through. It's cool. It's kind of getting jazzy. And this is what I'm talking about. This is where a transition where he's not doing like the rock and roll. He's making music, what he wants to explore it. So he's unsure where it's going. He's very conflicted. They're in the studio for 5 months. They only did a few shows. The guys in the band are not David Brown and Stan and Carbello, but those guys are gone. They are Greg Rowley and Neil. Those two guys after that album would go on and create the band Journey. Yes, that band Journey. So Greg and Neil would they agreed to do the Caravanserai. It's a cool album. Check it out. I really like that album. It's very different. So what does Caravanserai even mean? So this is where Carlos is getting more into his Eastern philosophy, Eastern religion, explorations here. He explains that Carlos explains that they would drive around San Francisco and listening to the tapes, like trying to figure out what's the sequence of Caravanserai. How should we play it out? He had a few tapes. Should we do it this way? Should we do it that way? And he explains that he found the word Caravanserai when he was reading a book written by a yogi, the Eternal Wisdom of a Yogi. The caravan, this is from the book. The caravan is the eternal cycle of reincarnation. Every soul going into and out of life, from death to life and back again, until you arrive at a place where you can achieve your inner peace. That place is the Caravanserai. So how you live now determines how you will live again. If you can't get there, the reincarnation is in your hands. You keep going. You can't make that same mistake twice. You gotta keep passing on. So he is actually pretty content. He's happy that he's become acquainted with Eastern philosophy. And the quote he puts on the record is, "The body melts into the universe. The universe melts into the soundless voice. The sound melts into the all-shining light. And the light enters the bosom of the infinite joy." I don't know about you, but I can dig it. It's I don't know. Could you sum that up by saying do the right thing? Could you? I don't know. I think it's an incredibly long bridge that he crossed. Playing from his humble beginnings of La Cucaracha and Tijuana all the way over here, And so on the release of Caravanserai, the album, Clive Davis, who is head of the record label, is asking Carlos, why? Why are you doing this? Because he's looking for a hit. He's looking for, come on, we got to put something on the damn radio. And that album, no. It's one piece, man. It's one piece. And, why are you doing this? And Carlos says, why not? He says, why what? Why are you doing this album? There's no song on it. It's just one piece. There's already a John Coltrane. There's already a Weather Report, the jazz band. Why can't there just be Santana? So let's end it here. Why can't there just be Santana? Well, I don't know, because he's exploring. And with the universal tone, it's not about creating a song to put on the radio. It's searching into your soul and bringing something out, And I think we're going to take a break with Carlos Santana. I think I'm just going to take a little break, and we'll let it transition to this spot where does it go? I don't know. it'll go to the next episode, right? I'm going to do something else. Next episode, I'm doing something completely different. So if you don't mind, put on, like, you know the songs. You know, Black Magic Woman. You know, Oye Como Va. Put on this album. Santana, Caravanserai. It's Caravan, Caravanserai. Put that on. Listen to that. Because it sounds like he has an idea and he wants to take it somewhere that's away from what he was doing before. I think that's cool. That's an artist. That's what artists do, you know? Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for coming back. And I want to tell you to send me an email at the jaysrockandrollstories at proton.me. I will see you next time. I hope you have a good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever you are in that time of day. And love you. See you later.